I'm focused on what I'm building in 3 years versus what I'm being billed for. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Unscripted Queen. I'm transitioning from corporate into creative content full-time. And as a creative, I don't even know how I got into corporate. Now, I'm not afraid to say you do what you got to do to get where you need to be, which is why I'm not surprised how I got into corporate full-time, because working in the film production industry was not working for me, especially in 2023. After I had a great gig and was living in LA, my contract ended and I was unemployed, and it was years before I was able to get back on my feet and really have secure stability. So I'm giving 5 corporate tips that I've learned that's helped me transition and pivot into full-time content creation. I want to transition into living my life and my dreams. So I'm focused on what I am building versus what continues to build me. There's always going to be money that gets accounted for, but I actually want to build things towards more opportunities. First thing I've learned in working in my corporate environment is to have a strategic plan. Okay, I never knew what these words paired together meant, but a strategic plan is simple. You have something that you do and you put it in order, a sequential order for how you're going to get to your goals. Meaning we would have these annual staff meetings, I would go to sleep and I would wake up thinking, what were we just talking about? Because I worked in a certain department, so majority of the meeting that took all day really had nothing to do with me. But what I realized by like the 8th meeting was that we're actually talking about how the entire organization and company is able to utilize each service within each department. And so I have to look at my life and break down each department in my personal life in order to help me produce the results I want, whether that be financially, professionally, romantically. I start with spiritual hygiene. That's the hierarchy for me. That's the top priority. I write down everything within that category. It could be meditation, it could be prayer, it could be reading, journaling, it could be stretching. And then I go to the second category, which is my health, mental wellness, which is therapy, which includes exercise, workouts, eating clean. And then the other category that I have after that is my business, because I personally do not like to create on an empty mind. And another tip that I have, ask questions. I understand that when you're creating content, it could get a little lonely. You feel like, I don't really know where to start. I don't know how to get from point A to point B. But especially with your strategic plan, it's like a progress tracker that you can see your growth. And I personally know if there was an email malfunction or if there was something not working on SharePoint and Outlook, I would immediately go to IT. I would ask them, because this is their area of expertise, how could you help me? So YouTube University is free, but if there's also people that you're meeting outside, networking and having relationships with, even if you're trying to develop a business transactional relationship with them, give a service to them that you would have paid or charged somebody, and then let them be able to educate you back, because that education you can apply while you're on your content creation journey. I am not an expert at everything. I do not know the right equipment, technology, software, but however, I do know there's people who are doing it well. There's content creators that I can follow. And so like, strip all the pride, ask yourself the big question, what is the goal here for me and how can I get there without it being something that you get in the way of? I did go to school for film production. That's my background. So I do know things for myself, but there's so much more, especially if you're like getting into monetizing your brand, if you're getting into building assets within different type of emails you send out to sponsors or brand campaigns and organizations. You should definitely do that. Don't ever be ashamed of the fact that you had to transition into corporate. I personally did not know anything about corporate other than that it was stoic. As a creative, as an arts girl, I love to do what I do well. I have made so much time invested in being in front of the camera, but learning behind the scenes was how I was able to get a job working full time that provided more stability. And I'm not the type of person that can create and have an empty cup. So I like to pour into my cup with knowing I have a place to eat, brush my teeth, food, and like smell good, feel good. And that meant that I sacrificed more time working to build an organization's vision versus my own. But no more of that. We know with that. Shut it down. This is not long term. If God maybe doesn't give you the opportunity of your dreams, but he still gives you something, use that up until you cannot, until you know it's time to go. Until next time, stay unscripted.